Today we're going to tie a purple haze parachute dry fly. We're going to start out with Beavis 16.0 thread. You can really use any kind of light thread. Some shiny purple yarn. This is rug yarn. For the body, we're going to use something called LifeFlex. We're going to use grizzly hackle. This is from a saddle. You can use regular dry fly neck hackle. This is called parapost for our wing. We're going to start with a Tiemco TMC 100 or any standard dry fly hook in a size 16. We're going to start with the thread a couple of eyes lengths behind the eye. I'm going to lay down a nice base of thread. Once you get some wraps in there, you can go ahead and trim out the tag end of that thread. Then we're going to make a nice thread base going all the way back to the back of the shank. In other words, where the flat part of the shank stops. When the thread is hanging down halfway between the point and the barb, that's about where we're going. Come back to the halfway point. Then we're going to take a thin little wisp of the purple rug yarn. Antron works. Any type of shiny yarn. And we're going to take a thin wisp and we're going to fold it over the thread. And we're going to grab the folded yarn in our left hand and overwrap it with thread towards the back of the shank. And then go ahead and come forward again. Now you can trim this. You want it to be about the length of the shank. Notice that it actually contracts, so you want to cut it a little bit longer than you would think necessary. Grab about a 4-inch length of one strand of that parapost, fold it over the thread, and we're tying it in at the 1/3 point. Then get good 5 or 6 wraps right up close to it. Then you're going to twist it. Real tight twist. Now you can use a cyano acrylic glue here. I'm using Clear Cure Goo Hydro, which is the very thin UV Cure cement. Put a tiny drop on there, then get rid of the excess. Grab your UV light, shine it on there for about 10-15 seconds. That's enough to do the trick. Make sure you get all the way around. Make sure you don't look into the light. Not good for your eyes. Once you've got that post in place, we're going to trim it to about 2 inches so that it's kind of out of our way while we're tying. Once we've finished with the fly, we'll go back in and we'll trim this wing to the actual length. Okay, we're going to grab about a 4 or 5 inch section of that LifeFlex. I'm going to tie that in right behind the wing, so I'm just kind of bumping the thread back there behind the wing. So you want to just grab the very, very tip of that with your thread and give it a little tug, and then we'll overwrap it towards the rear of the shank. You have to play with the wing a little bit to keep it out of your way, but it's not all that difficult. Okay, and then once you've got it to the back of the shank, then wrap your thread forward. And go ahead and take that in front of the wing. Now we're going to wrap the thorax of the fly. Pull that tail material out of the way, stretching it quite a bit now so that it's very narrow toward the back. Now I'm letting up a little bit of the tension to give myself a bit of a taper towards the wing tie-in. What I'll do when I get behind the wing is I'll pull it kind of tight, give it a wrap, get a wrap up in front, another wrap behind, and 1 or 2 in front, and then tie them off. Notice I'm keeping that front area clean. I don't want to crowd the eye. So give it a couple wraps over it, get 1 wrap in front of it, and a couple over it. Then you can go ahead and trim out that LifeFlex. Okay, you want to select a hackle proper for a size 16 fly. I use saddle hackle, rooster saddle, because you can get a couple of flies out of 1 feather, and it's much easier to handle than a standard rooster neck feather. So get rid of the fuzz. Actually strip the fibers off with your thumb and index finger, the right hand. Just leave yourself a little nub to tie in. You want the good side of the feather facing you when you tie it in. There we go. So get a soft wrap over that, and you can adjust if you have to. Take some wraps towards the wing. Jump the thread behind the wing. You see how I have bare stem there? Okay. Now we're just going to cover up that area with some more of the LifeFlex. So you can tie that back in at this point. Again, just grab it and kind of pull it through the thread to adjust the size. Come to right behind the eye. Just want to make sure that we get a nice smooth body out of this. And that's also reinforcing that wing, keeping it upright. Leave a little bit of room behind the eye, and you want to get 2 wraps over that material. And 1 in front, and a couple over it. And then you can go ahead and trim that out. Now don't pull too hard on it or it'll snap right back under your thread. You don't want that to happen. Now you simply pick up the feather, take 1 wrap. Each wrap you're trying to wrap down and below the wrap before it. So you notice I'm aiming down as I come around to the near side and far side. Give it a pinch, come around with the thread, give it 3 or 4 good wraps, and then come in with the scissors and nick it out as clean as possible. Now you can take your left thumb and index finger, pull all that stuff out of the way, and you can clean up that area with your thread. There we go. Do a whip finish, or 3 half hitches. I promise you we will get to that whip finish next time. So that's a 4 wrap on the whip finish. Pull it tight, and then we'll nick out the thread. Pull tight, push. It's a lot easier than trying to get in there with your scissors. Now pull that wing straight up, stroke those fibers down, and trim that so that it's about the same length as the shank of the hook. And there you have the finished purple haze.